Hello, my name is Wyatt Dawes and I'll be persuading you on the theory of global warming. In my quest to discover the truth about global warming, I happened upon an article entitled America's First Great Global Warming Debate by Joshua Kennedy. Expecting to read a discussion between Al Gore and George W. Bush, I was quite surprised to discover the first leading debaters were none other than Thomas Jefferson and Noah Webster. Thomas Jefferson was pro-global warming and Noah Webster was anti-global warming. To learn more about the theory of global warming and why it's not really all it's cracked up to be, you must know, first, the side that favors global warming and why they think it's true, and second, the side that opposes global warming and why they can disprove the theory, and third of all, what the Bible says about the natural occurring phenomena. The side favoring global warming was brought up by Al Gore. He was a student of climate crisis for 30 years. He says in his movie, An Inconvenient Truth, that we are melting the North Polar ice cap and virtually all of the mountain glaciers in the world. We are destabilizing the massive mound of ice on Greenland and the equally enormous mass of ice propped on top of islands in West Antarctica, threatening a worldwide increase in sea levels of as much as 20 feet. He also says that CO2 is being absorbed into the oceans, that if we continue at the current rate, we will increase the saturation of calcium carbonate to levels that will prevent formation of corals and interfere with the making of shells by any sea creature. So he thinks that CO2 is causing ice caps to melt and just total global warming. Now that you know his side of the spectrum, let's go on the opposing side to see how scientists can disprove his theory. In an article by Mike Griffith, he states that ice is expanding in much of Antarctica, contrary to the widespread belief that global warming is melting the continental ice cap. The ice cap is now at a maximum thickness of 1.89 meters, the densest it's been in 10 years. The average thickness since the 1950s has been 1.67 meters. He goes on to say that the ice cap grew by 9% from 2007 to 2008. He says that climate change is grossly overstated. The best evidence supporting natural causes of temperature fluctuations are the change in cloudiness, which correspond to solar activity. There has been warm periods as well as cooling periods, as we've seen in the medieval warm period around 1100 AD and the Little Ice Age that happened from 14 to 1850 AD. He also thinks that global warming is an excuse to impose more government controls on our economy to push through income redistribution schemes masked as energy and/or climate bills. In an article by the Association of British Drivers, they give us green myths on global warming that have been disproved. First myth that they brought up was that the planet Earth is currently undergoing global warming. The fact is that accurate and representative temperature measurements from satellites and balloons show that the planet has cooled significantly in the last 2 or 3 years, losing in only 18 months 15% of the claimed warming which took over 100 years to appear. Yep. Another myth is that even slight temperature rises are disastrous. Ice caps will melt, people will die. The fact is that parts of ice caps are melting, yet other parts are thickening, but this isn't reported as much. Another myth, carbon dioxide levels in our atmosphere at the moment are unprecedentedly high. The fact is, atmospheric carbon dioxide levels, currently only 350 parts per million, have been over 18 times higher in the past at a time when cars, factories, and power stations did not exist. Levels rise and fall without mankind's help. Mankind is pumping out carbon dioxide at a very high rate. The fact is, 96.5% of all carbon dioxide emissions are from natural sources. Mankind is responsible for only 3.5% of it. Another myth, carbon dioxide changes in the atmosphere, causing temperature changes on the Earth. The fact is, every time when the temperature and carbon dioxide levels have shifted, the carbon dioxide change happened after the temperature change, so that the man-made global warming theory has put effect before cause. So Al Gore's theory has definitely been disproved. There are leading activists opposing global warming as well. In an article by Grant Jeffrey, he says that global warming is the greatest threat in our generation. The threat is the massive global warming alarmist campaign that attempts to impose socialist, globalist control over nations, business, and your lifestyle. A Czech president, Václav Klaus, who grew up under communism, says that we are being hijacked by social communists. He thinks it's all a government ploy to enslave our fellow citizens through environmental laws and regulations that will control every aspect of our life. Now that you know the theories that disprove global warming, let me read some Bible verses that talk about natural phenomena. In Genesis 8:22, it says, "As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, and day and night will not cease." In Matthew 24:37-39, it says, "As the days of Noah were, so the coming of the Son of Man will be. For in the days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day Noah boarded the ark. They didn't know until the flood came and swept them all away. So this is the way the coming of the Son of Man will be." In 2 Peter 3, verses 3-7, it says, "First, be aware of the scoffers who will come in the last days to scoff, following their own lusts, saying, 'Where is the promise of his coming? For ever since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they have been since the beginning of creation.'" So as you can see, the facts do not lie. Global warming has been overstated and, in many instances, completely fabricated. Science clearly identifies global warming as a naturally occurring phenomenon that has little or nothing to do with man and industrialization. Thank you.